Hey, this is Eric. And just before you dive into this episode, I want to let you know that it is from a video that I recently shot after a call with one of my executive coaching clients. So it's a short episode here today, but it's right to the point, and I think you'll find it very useful, particularly if you are feeling overwhelmed at the moment. In the episode, I mentioned the download that you can get if you want to help you to get a grasp on your time. And that link is in the show notes. So check out that link. Really appreciate you listening to Construction Genius. I'm very grateful for how the show has grown over the last couple of years. I would appreciate it if you could share it with other people as well. Give us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts, and enjoy the episode. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. How can you stop being overwhelmed and start being effective? That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I was just chatting with one of my clients. He stepped up into a new role where he's overseeing much of the work in his particular division, and he's feeling just a little bit overwhelmed. Now, why do we get overwhelmed in a new position? Well, number one, because we are not using our time correctly, or we are not using our time effectively. We're not using our time correctly because we are not doing the right things, or we are not using our time effectively because we're doing the right things, but we are not doing them well. So how can you begin to get control and beat overwhelm? First thing you need to do is ask yourself this question: what is my role? You have to clearly define what your role is. And so, for instance, with my client, his role is to be involved in both the capturing of the work and the constructing of the work. He has people reporting to him to help him with those two parts of the business, but his hands have to be involved in those parts of the business. As far as the collecting of the money, he has someone else who's handling that. Okay, so once you understand what your role is, the next question you have to ask to start to beat that overwhelm is to ask, what are my priorities? And that's an excellent question. I'd like to say, regardless of what your role is in a construction company, you have one priority, and that is to make money. That is your most important priority, because you are in a business. And a business exists to make money. Now, for my client, if he's going to do that, he has to be able to land the right work with the right clients in the right locations. So that's a priority of his. The second thing he has to do is build the work safely, productively, and with high quality, because that's how you make money in the field. So the number one priority is to make money. The way you do that is by capturing the right work with the right clients in the right locations, and then building that work safely, productively, and with high quality. So he clearly identified then what his priorities are. So once you understand your role and you understand your priorities, then cascade that down into your schedule. And there's two things that you need to be able to do with your schedule. Number one, you have to be able to block out time to work on your top priorities. And number two, you must get comfortable with chaos. And I'll explain both of those. As far as blocking out time is concerned, for my client, what he needs to do is spend 3 days a week in the field: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 2 days a week in the office, Monday and Friday. As the company grows and develops, that balance may change. Nevertheless, he's clear on where he needs to be putting his time in terms of his schedule. So what do you need to do in terms of blocking out time to be able to execute on your most important priorities within your role and responsibility so that you might avoid overwhelm. And then what you have to do is just get used to chaos, because in construction, chaos happens. It may not be your fault, but it just occurs. And so you have to schedule time for chaos in your calendar, to accept the fact that part of your day will be out of your direct control and you will just be reacting to things that are going on. But if you're effective at blocking out parts of your time and saying no to that chaos, then you will be able to accept the chaos when it comes and allow yourself to go through the challenge of handling the difficulties that come up every single day. So here's your application. And again, what are we talking about? How to stop being overwhelmed and start being effective. First thing you want to do is log your time for a couple of weeks. And I know this is very challenging. It's not complicated to do, but it's hard to discipline yourself to do it. But log your time for 2 weeks and look at your time every day and ask yourself, how much time am I spending doing someone else's job? And when I am doing my job, how effective am I at it? And so with that in mind, what you then need to learn to do to overcome this overwhelm is to start saying no. First to yourself and then to other people. Say no to yourself when you're tempted to go outside of your role and responsibility. So for example, my client, he comes up from the field, so he's comfortable with dirty hands, solving problems on the job site. But in his new role, that's no longer his job. His job is now to oversee the projects and to make sure that other people are executing the work. And so he has to say no to himself because his tendency is to dive into the projects and as a result of that, do things that he shouldn't be doing, but other people should be doing. And then after you say no to yourself, you have to say no to others because people are going to be coming at you all the time, requesting your time, maybe asking you to do things outside of your role and responsibility. And you must be crystal clear on what it is that you are responsible for and be willing rather than to say no to other people. So log your time, say no to yourself and to others. And then the last thing you do is you get help. And this is how you get help. Because remember, why is it that we get overwhelmed? Because we're either not using our time correctly or we're not using it effectively. So perhaps you're not using your time effectively. You could use it better. You could execute better your role and responsibility. So get training for yourself. And then if you're getting interrupted by other people who want you to take over their role and responsibility, then train them and then hold them accountable. And then lastly, if you see gaps in the organization where you're really spending a lot of time doing things that you shouldn't be doing, that's where perhaps you need to hire. And I know that's challenging in the current labor market. It's difficult to find good people, but that's what you need to focus on there. So if you're going to avoid overwhelm and start being more effective, what you need to do is understand your role, then roll that down into your priorities. From your priorities, figure out your schedule and the application. Log your time to figure out where your time is going. Learn to say no to yourself and others. And then if you need to, get help. Now, in the description of this video or in the comment section, I've put a link to a resource that you can download for free. And that free resource is a time management inquiry and also a time log. You can use the inquiry just to ask yourself some questions about where your time is going, how you're spending it, and what you need to do to improve it. And then the time log you can use to log your time. Do it for a couple of weeks, see where your time is going, and then begin to ask yourself, what can I do to be more effective so that I can stop being overwhelmed and start executing my role and responsibility at the highest possible level? My client is going to be doing that. I know it's going to be a challenge for him, but we're going to work together in our executive coaching relationship to figure out how he can be more effective. And if, by the way, you need some help in terms of being more effective, getting an outside voice, feel free to contact me. I'm an executive coach for construction leaders, and I'm happy to help you if you have a need. Appreciate you watching this video. Today's episode was brought to you by the Construction Conclave. If you as a construction leader would like to develop your skills and get involved in a community of like-minded construction professionals who are focused on building healthy teams, profitable projects, and long-term successful businesses, then the Construction Conclave is for you. It's a private, invitation-only group of construction leaders that are focused on developing their leadership skills. We do training every single month online that looks at how to become a better leader in a very practical, straightforward way. We also have other events that build community and camaraderie so that you can associate with others who are interested in developing their skills as leaders. If you'd like more information and to see if you qualify for participating in the conclave, feel free to reach out to me, eric@ericanderton.com. Thank you for listening to this episode of Construction Genius. Hope you found that 1% of inspiration to help you in the next few days. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, share it with other construction leaders who you think would benefit, and thanks again for listening.